Well, getting back to this, I'm going to close this out. Maybe I won't even need the whole 20 some minutes. As I said, some things are worth fighting for. I'm not knocking it. Some things are worth fighting for. Some things are just worth watching, however, our backs to make sure that it doesn't lead into a fight. You know, I do agree that we have to deal with racism. Um, when it's really that powerful that it can really disturb a family, a community, some child's life. When black people are being shot down in the street like foxes, um, yeah, if it gets like that, yeah. Um, One thing about black people being shot though, I'm not saying that you have a right to shoot anyone just because um they get arrested. That's not a reason to shoot someone because they got arrested. However, I don't think it's black people's job to support thugs. I mean, you can hate me for saying that, but I don't think, if you're not a thug, okay, don't support people that are. Okay? You're not in that situation. You're not getting shot because you're not having run ins with the police. Why? You know what I'm saying? It'd be different if cops were going around just randomly shooting black people, okay, privately or something, and you found out, okay, to get them out of the community or something like that. That'd be different, but that's not what's going on. We see that thugs are getting shot. And you really can't, I don't know if to really call it racism. I mean, people say, well, it's racist because, you know, what you don't think that white people that live in your community can make excuses to shoot you? I mean, if a cop can make excuses to shoot you, so can your white neighbor. So why is it racism when cops are shooting you? And I mean, black cops um, have shot people, or it seems funny. It seems like black cops are afraid as much as they want to. Trust me, they want to. Black cops are much afraid to shoot anybody compared to their white counterparts that are cops. And it's always the white cops will say, hey man, be careful. Don't shoot them. Don't shoot them. I remember I had a situation where we had a 302 somebody one time, a relative of mine, and we called the cops over there, and it was the black cop that wanted to like get physical, and like, put his hands on her and restrain her and all like that. She was just as black as him, okay? And the white cop said, "Oh, whoa, let me do this. Let me, he wanted to, I don't know. I don't know what the conspiracy is about. I mean, don't get me wrong. I too am appalled sometimes of how people are getting shot. But I will agree with white folks um, that sometimes white folks are getting shot just as much in some states and cities, and it's just not being reported all over the news uh, like it is for black folks. And I agree with that. And one of these days, I'm gonna have to do a video on Colin Flattery and my take on him because I like Colin Flattery. I consider him a friend of mine, but um, just like I don't accuse everything that whites do to blacks an act of racism. He shouldn't confuse black teenage crime, calling it black racism, calling it a race war on whites. I mean, both ideas are wrong. But even though I agree with black folks on many issues, and even though I disagree with white folks and agree with white folks on many issues and issues that don't even involve violence and all like that, as much as I'm proud to be black, it's not about me, it's about America. And black folks, this is the way I feel about black America. It's not about us. It's about America. We are, I don't even call myself a minority, but if that's what we are, that's what we are. But whether you want to call us a minority or whether you want to call us the biggest minority or whether you want to call us something else, I don't know what you call it, but whatever you call it, we are just one race of people here in America. America is about all races, and I love to walk outside my door and see blacks and whites and Asians and Arabs and Indians and Native Americans, and just I love to see everybody working together. I guess that's my God nature in me. I love to see everybody working together. Not just blacks, not just whites. I don't see any reason, and that's another video. I don't see any reason for us to separate ourselves about anything. Okay, I think that the foreigners that come in this country, they should have to learn the language just like us blacks had to learn the language. When we came over here as slaves, we did not know English. But now we know it just as well as white folks. But the Asians that come over here and the Arabs that come over here, they don't have to know. They don't have to know English like we do. I don't think it's fair. Okay, a black person has to know English very well in order to get a good job. It should be the same for anybody else that comes into this nation. It should be the same for anybody else. But nevertheless, it's about America. It's not about blacks. It's not about Spanish. It's not about whites or any other race. It's about America. And I don't even agree with, like they say that half of California belongs to Spanish people. Well, maybe that's why I've never been in California. You know what I'm saying? Chinatown, Koreatown, I don't mind there being a town if your culture has plenty of things to offer. But for you to have your own neighborhood to where, like the Arabs, and I don't know if the no-go zones are here in America yet. I think they are, but Arabs have no-go zones in other people's countries. I think that's wrong. I think that's Holocaust. I think that's just wrong. And then when I went to Chinatown, New York, I don't know if a lot of Chinese people live in there or whatever, and that was a long time ago. I went to Chinatown, New York, but you had to be out of there at certain hours because they don't want no visitors. You go to Hawaii, you're allowed to visit the islands, but you got to get off of them by a certain time. You're not allowed to live or stay the night even on certain islands and certain neighborhoods in Hawaii. I think it's just wrong. This is America. Wherever I tread my foot, because I am an American, I should be able, especially when I have to pay with cash, I should be able to stay the night, move in, pay taxes, get a job there, whatever I want to do, because I am an American. That's the way I feel about that. Okay? I'm getting off the topic, but that's the way I feel about that. That's one of the things that we can do to help this situation of racism not escalate. Stop giving everybody their own. We're all in this together. We're all one family. We're Americans. There is no, you know what I'm saying? There is no, oh, like Miami. They say Miami, Florida. That's Spanish. You're certain parts of. Well, wait a minute. Well, then move them out of there. Then I shouldn't have to worry about Miami, Florida, going over there and getting attacked by Spanish people. You know what I'm saying? You go to certain parts of Maryland. You watch out for Spanish people. It'll kill you. Well, then move them out of there. Then. Okay, this is America. This is not Spain. This is America. This is not China. Thank you, Donald Trump, for saying it. This is America. This isn't China. This isn't Spain. This isn't Saudi Arabia. This is America. That means all of us are free to be here legally if we respect the flag and the freedom. That's the way it is. So there is real racism, and there is how you feel or think about others. Black folks, how do you know that the white people around you are racist? How do you know? And how do you know every time a white person has a problem with you, it's because you're black? How do you know that? What proof do you have? Same thing with white folks. And I'm going to tell you something. There are white folks. And this is why I do watch the Colin Flattery channel. Because there are white folks, I've met them, that are scared to death. Because they've been through some hard racist stuff with black folks. To the point to where they're always afraid of who to trust. Because everything from their house being broken into and their family being attacked to being pulled into a fight on a job. Black folks have been out to get them, and they openly opened their mouth and said it was because he was white. Now, if that's not racism coming from black folks, I don't know what is. And I'm not saying it just because he said it, but some of the stuff I've seen in action, black folks. You're in no predicament in 2017, really, if you really look at it, to sit there and talk about racism like you're not a racist. Because the difference between yesterday and today, like I said in the other video, yesterday you were racist because you didn't know who each other was. Today, we know who each other is. And black people today are racist because they can be if they want to be. Back in the day, you being a racist was a joke because, you know what I mean? Didn't nobody need you to be non-racist. You're going to cut your head off anyway or chop your leg off, whichever comes first. I mean, it didn't matter if you was racist or not. Today it matters. And so you feel like you want to pay white people back? I don't recall anybody my age and older being here to go through it. And my grandmother went through some stuff, some hard times. And her grandmother went through some hard times. But they never told me, hey, get even with these white people. Get even with them. Make them pay for what they did to us, what they did to our ancestors. They never said that to me. Never said that to me. Okay, and my grandmother didn't get along with white people at all, but she never told me to retaliate. She never told me to retaliate. And my mom, if my mom had said something like that, it would have been like, what are you smoking? Because my mother loved white people. And my mother loved, there's white people at my house, white people. We traveled with white people. We were invited over for dinner, blah, 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 blah. Me coming up, even more so than my mother and my grandmother, I had white people coming out of my ears, man. I could tell you some stories, and I told you some stories, but. But there's real racism, and I told you some examples of real racism. And then there's racism that's based on how you feel. It doesn't really mean that anybody's really racist towards you. That's just the way you feel. But the reasons why I chose to evolve, and what that means is I chose to evolve as an American and start there. I chose to pick my culture instead of saying, oh, well, my culture is black culture. I'm sorry, black folks. But I'm an American. Whereas there is no law that says I have to only listen to rap music, or I only have to listen to hip hop or soul music or blues music. There's no law that says that. There's no law that says, white folks, that I only have to keep it within my race, that I can't date outside my race. Why can't I? Are we all Americans? Are we all not the same culture? I should be able to date whites, black, Asians, okay, Indians, Native Americans, and Arabs if I want to. Whatever I want to date. That should be my right as an American because I'm an American. If we all, and as far as multiculturalism, I don't care, because if we all fall in love heterosexually, I don't get in that other stuff. That's another video too. But heterosexually and within the bonds of marriage, okay, and we fall in love, who cares if our children all come out beige or gray or whatever color you think they're going to come out? Who cares? As long as God doesn't have a problem with it, what right do we have to have a problem with it? What right do we have to have a problem with God is joined together? If God is really joined it together, God don't join everything together. Okay? Like God don't put kids and kids together. Okay? He don't put Jezebel, okay, and a man of God together, okay? He don't put a sperm donator, okay, and a virgin together. You know what I'm saying? God don't put that kind of stuff together. He don't do that, okay? If you know what I mean, okay? But what right do we have? But 3 reasons why I chose to evolve more as an American, or because if you look at it, racism is universal. It's never going to go anywhere, and it's permanent. It will never stop in this life. The only time racism will ever stop, especially racism where it's about how you think about others, your scruples and your phobias about other people. The only way that's going to stop is in, excuse me, in the next life. I mean, even in the church, we are still somewhat divided. Even in the church of God, we're still divided somewhat. Even Christians are divided. But I feel that anybody that is a Christian, because that's my culture. I'm in the Christian culture. I'm not in the black culture, white culture, or any particular culture. I'm in the Christian culture. The Bible says that when we come to Christ, we are a new race, a peculiar race, a royal priesthood, a holy race. Okay? So, you know, I'm a Christian man, a man of God before I am a black man. That's another video too. But that's number 1. Racism is universal and permanent. It's not going to stop in this life. It might soften, but it's not going to stop. So whether you have a race war or whatever you do, it's, the only other way to stop racism is get rid of color. There are no colors. Everybody's sleeping with everybody, and everybody looks like everybody. That's how racism stopped for the white people. That's how it stopped for the Asians. Because when everybody started looking like everybody, okay, then there wasn't no racism. Okay? You didn't know who was who. Okay? So that's one reason why I chose to evolve, okay? Racism is just one issue that everybody faces to some degree or another. And it's everybody's problem. It's not just your problem, black people. And it's not just white people's problem, but it's everybody's problem. If you go outside the U.S., Russia has their racial problems with the people over there. Crimea and the other nations and countries, smaller countries, larger countries on that side of the globe. You go into China, into the Asian areas. Japanese people are against Chinese people still, okay? And Korea is against Japan and you know what I'm saying? And they all look like each other. But they got that racial tension, okay? You have that going on. It's not just a black issue, but it's all over the world. Okay? It's all over the world. Arabs, I hear, have racial tension towards Indians. People from India. They don't hang out too well together. Okay, except for when they're doing terrorism. Okay, but other than that, they don't hang out. Okay, Turkish people don't always connect with the people from Saudi Arabia and all like that. Again, unless there's some twisted stuff in there. So racism is all over the world, okay? And it's everybody's problem, okay? And then third of all, blackness. I don't really support blackness. I support Black Americans. I support African Americans, whichever one you want to call yourself. But I don't support that black mentality, that dark cloud that smothers a lot of black people I know, where everything is about us. If there ain't no white people around, we'll find some way to throw some kind of race card in there about something. Okay? And all I hear is white people all the time. It's like you still got it out for white people. First of all, and most of y'all weren't even here to go through anything with white people. I know I wasn't. I was born in 1966. I was not here. And a lot of these people younger than me got it out for white people. I don't get it. Okay? They just hate white people. And I've never seen, I don't see white people. I'm not saying white people are the most innocent people in the world. I'm just saying. So I think, like, again, there's real racism. And then there's racism that's all about how you feel and how you get paranoid about what other people think about you. And again, people can think whatever they want to think about you. Even like I said, even if Donald Trump is a racist. If Donald Trump, being a racist and moving into the White House, was able to really do any damage, we'd be out of here, black folks. We'd have been out of here with either Bill Clinton or George Bush or the first Bush that jumped into office, or anyone else that you thought was a racist that went into the White House. Even if, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump doesn't go home and hang out with black folks. But that doesn't bother me. I don't think Hillary Clinton, that y'all wanted to put her in office instead, or her husband, goes out and hangs out with black folks when they get home either. Come on, people. Come on. I mean, racism that you need to worry about is about what people do to you, not what they think about you or that they don't feel exactly comfortable with you. Barack Obama had his time in office. The fact that they let a black man into office in this country, okay, before they let an Asian in there or before they let an Arab in there. My God, does that mean anything to you? But no, you don't give white people and all the white people in the Supreme Court and in Congress and all that any credit for this. You think that Barack Obama got in office all by himself, just basically on your vote alone. No, it took a lot of white people to put that man in office. But you can't see that. Come on. After Barack Obama and all his stupidity being in office for 8 years, he might be the only president that ever, or I think they said one other president did it in history, went for 2 terms like that. And he happens to be the first black president? Come on, people. Black folks, you got to help me out here. You got to let me in on a secret. I don't know what's going on with you. But anyway, blackness has made things more difficult for blacks. It hasn't helped anything. It has not proven effective in edifying this country. And that's what I am about. I'm an American, and I'm proud to be an American. I'm proud to be black, but I'm also proud to be an American. I'm proud of my heritage, my black heritage, yes, but I'm also proud of the choices that were made in this country as far as freedom goes. I'm also proud of the white people in my life, the white people that have taught me, the white people that have been my friends, been my co-workers, pastors, laymen, the cops back in the day, the white cops back in the day that were good to me, that had mercy on me when I got into trouble, traffic trouble. Never did jail time or nothing like that, but I have been picked up by constables. I have been arrested for traffic violations. Spent overnight in a cell a couple times. Never no real jail time or nothing like that. But the cops were nice to me most of the time. I can count at least 2 times where they weren't, or the cop at the scene wasn't. But I go through racism every week if I really want to count it. And I go through enough of it, okay? And but blackness is not the answer. It's being an American. I choose my culture. I don't choose my culture based on fear or based on what somebody else doesn't have or what somebody else has, or I base my cultural understandings on what is right for me as a person. If the white people got it, that's where I'm going. If the Asians got it, that's where I'm going. And it's the white people that say, good morning, hello, how are you doing today, sir? It's never the Asians. It's very seldom the blacks. It's hardly ever the Arabs. Unless you're going in their store and buying something out of their store. Okay? But in my everyday life, I have a mixture of racism coming from all sides, but I have a mixture of niceness, of good people coming from most sides too. So I don't support the blackness. But I hope this video helps somebody that's going through a decision, that's worried about the Donald Trump thing. I'm not worried about it at all. Not just because I'm a Republican, but because I never have been. When I wasn't a Republican, I wasn't worried about whether a white man that gets in office is a racist or not. It doesn't matter. If it did, we'd be dead and out of here by now. Okay. But anyway, comment, subscribe, like or dislike. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Thank you for coming to my channel. God bless.